Muscle Dougie, ho. Muscle Dougie, ho.
Alrighty, ladies and gents, boys and girls, happy Monday, February the 21st, 2022. Hope you're all doing well. I am Chris Phillips, your host of the Daily Crow of the Spurs Up Show. As always, we have got a packed Monday, a lot to get into. And again, cannot wait to hear from you guys, taking your questions, your comments, and your calls. 843-790-3377. That is 843-790-3377. I see Travi, Tony, Dutch, Phil, Brennan M., Brian Lattimore, Brack, John. What's going on? Do we have the wrong mic plugged in? Yes, we do. Yes, we do. I apologize. Okay, we should be good now. I don't know. Sometimes it does that. I blame Melon for sometimes picking the wrong output, if you will. We should be good now. But either way, guys, appreciate you all tuning in. Again, we have got a ton to talk about today because it's a victory Monday. It's a celebration Monday with the Gamecocks taking 2 of 3 from UNCG. The Courtcocks beating LSU. Dawn Staley's team winning. Also, Shane Beamer will be speaking to the media today at 1 o'clock, and we will be streaming that here. Also, my guy Austin Greer, who is on the TSUS staff, has just informed me via a tweet that Xavier McLeod, 4-star defensive line, 2023 4-star defensive lineman out of Camden, South Carolina, is expected to be a Gamecock per sources season. Either way, good news all around. G.G. Jackson had a fantastic visit. Again, guys, we have got a ton to discuss, a ton to get into. And yes, guys, before you ask me, we will have the Shane Beamer presser that is upcoming at 1 o'clock. We will have that live streamed here. So, again, I'm not even sure we're going to take a break in this first hour because I want to get to all your questions, all your comments, all your calls. And, again, we have so much to discuss. So much happened over the weekend. And it was truly a great weekend to be a Gamecock, if you cannot tell by the sound of my voice or lack thereof. So, again, I want to hear from you guys. 843-790-3377. Again, guys, also in the Big Cock Club Discord. Head over to the TDC Questions channel. The TDC Questions channel, be sure that your questions are answered. And on that note, the Daily Crow is brought to you by the Big Cock Club. Guys, join today, patreon.com/Big Cock Club. You'll get exclusive access to our content, our private Discord, all of our new and unique interviews and conversations. Guys, we've got some very big ones upcoming. We are working on setting one up with a certain South Carolina quarterback. I think you guys can figure out who that is. Also, a couple guys who just graduated from USC, football players, tons of new conversations and everything coming. Again, guys, all the latest content, exclusive merchandise, 20% off all merch. So, again, there's tons of perks when you join the Big Cock Club. That's patreon.com/Big Cock Club. Or go to our social media channels, go to our social media pages, click that link in bio. You'll see the link to join the Big Cock Club today. But, again, I want to hear from you, 843-790-3377. Let's jump straight to the phone lines.
Call from
Phil Harris.
Phil, what's up, man? How are you?
Pretty good, Chris. How you doing?
I am doing well, man. I appreciate you asking. What's going on?
You're welcome. So I just want to give you a quick daily weather report for New Hampshire. It is 49 degrees right now and partly cloudy. Beautiful winter weather right now that we're having. Unseasonably warm, I would say, here in the beautiful state of New Hampshire right now.
Phil, I'm so happy you bring up the weather, by the way, because I was looking actually about 20 minutes ago, just like what this week held, because, of course, baseball plays and whatever. The high today is 72. This is the highs for this week through Saturday. 79, 82, 86, 82, and then 60 on Saturday.
Wow.
It is going to be warm, really warm.
I'll tell you, I'll take that 60 right there. That's the only one that I like hearing about is that 60 degree.
I'm telling you, man, Thursday high 86, I might as well get the pool back out. I mean, really, at that point.
86 is insane. I mean, it's February. Jesus Christ. I mean,
it is.
Yeah, South Carolina weather shows no mercy to people that do not like warm weather. It's just insane. Like,
yeah. Well, as someone, I'll tell you this: as someone that's going to be at the ball field, I'm not going to complain about the warm weather because I'd much rather sit there in the warm weather than be freezing my tail off.
Right.
So I will take it.
Exactly. All right. Perfect. So I wanted to give a quick shout out to the women's basketball team for taking care of business and being the regular season champs for the SEC this year. Once again, super happy for them. Sold out arena at Colonial Life Arena. It is possible if you put a consistent winning product on the court, regardless if it's men or women, that place will sell out. All you have to look at is the women's basketball program to see that is the case. The fans will care about basketball once they consistently win. There's no doubt in my mind about that. So, yeah, happy for them. Dawn Staley's the GOAT at basketball coaching at South Carolina, regardless of men or women's status, as far as I'm concerned. So.
Yeah, no, for sure, man. It's like I said, it's something that you got to kind of pinch yourself and not take it for granted because we just beat everyone, and they really have. I mean, I think Gamecocks women's basketball is the standard with women's basketball now, but the run they've made, and certainly this season it's far from over, but it's just incredible to watch, man. And obviously, like you said, man, putting 18,000 at CLA, that was really impressive, really, really impressive. So, like you said, man, if you build it, they'll come. Gamecock fans love one thing more than anything else, and that is a winner. That is for sure. So,
yeah. We don't get a lot of that around here, so when it does happen, we show out for sure, and really, really appreciate them and that program, and hopefully we'll have another national title to be happy about at the end of the season. So,
right.
Just wanted to switch it over to MLR real quick. Great weekend of rugby. I actually just not too long ago left with my crew of the Jacks Rangers show from the team meeting for the Free Jacks. So they really embraced this little show here. We were down at a diner in Quincy, Massachusetts, which is about 8 miles south of Boston. We were all wearing our Free Jacks gear. So you can imagine the locals that are at this diner seeing about 30, 40, big dudes walking in and wearing all the same equipment. They're like, what the hell is all of this, right? So that was pretty cool that they included us in the meeting that they had, just going over their schedule. They're actually flying out to L.A. on Friday to play the L.A. team in Los Angeles there at the world-famous Coliseum for a Saturday game. So that should be super exciting to watch that. Not sure if it's going to be on prime time yet. I hadn't really looked into that, but it should be because both of these teams are really good. Free Jacks undefeated right now, 2-0. Feels good to be good, baby, just like you say.
Indeed, man. Indeed. It feels good to be good. And some Mondays and some days that's more true than others, but that certainly applies today. No question.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. All right, I won't take up too much of your time. I appreciate you. Go Cox.
Go Cox. Appreciate you, Phil. Guys, if you're wondering why I was making that face during Phil's call, it wasn't because of Phil. Was scrolling on Twitter. The SEC just dropped their co-players of the week, and Jermaine Couisnard was not one of them. And I understand it's not just one game, but I am flabbergasted right now. How you leave him off after what he did on Saturday against LSU. I am, again, I know they judge it off the entire week, not just a single game. But I don't know. I'm beyond words. I don't get that. I don't know. I have no idea. Again, 843-790-3377. That just blows my mind. 843-790-3377. Savannah Webster. The co-players of the week are Scottie Pippen Jr. and the kid from Arkansas, Jalen Williams. So, I mean, I don't know. I mean, is it that big of a deal? No, but I don't know how a dude that had 33 points doesn't make the list. Doesn't make the list. Again, guys, I want to continue to hear from you. Again, we are knocking out a lot in this first hour because, of course, Shane Beamer's going live at 1 o'clock, I'd assume, to introduce Jody Wright and maybe others as new coaches. James Kendall said average number of breaks in the first hour on Victory Monday, 0. Average number on Therapy Monday, 2. So, yeah, hey, it's a lot more fun to talk. It's a lot more fun to talk when, you're good. When you're good and you win, and certainly that is the case today. Yeah, one time for the champ, Savannah. Indeed. Guys, in case you missed it, by the way, I announced this on the podcast, and we'll drop the graphic announcing it probably later today. But we're actually throwing a watch party for Gamecocks women's basketball, believe it or not, next Sunday, or this Sunday, I should say. This Sunday, the final regular season game, the women's team plays at 2 o'clock at Ole Miss. We are going to throw a watch party at the Carolina Ale House location in Harbison, Columbia, South Carolina. So, again, guys, would love to have you come out to that. Going to be a lot of fun watching the Lady Gamecocks wrap up the regular season and take on the Ole Miss Rebels. Christian Carver says, great weekend by the baseball team and men's and women's basketball teams. Yeah, great weekend by really everybody, man. Luke RJ says, Chris Phillips loves Braswell. Who doesn't? Michael Braswell, a legend. I tried to tell you. I tried to tell you guys in the preseason. I said, watch out. watch out for the freshman, watch out for Braswell. And sure enough, man, the kid's got moxie, he's got swagger, he's got everything you want in a youngster. Plays the game with a fierce competitiveness and a love for the game. And, he's obviously got immense talent, and you combine all those things, and the results normally pretty good. So I'm excited to watch him the rest of the year. Again, there's going to be freshman growing pains. He's going to have, I think, an SEC play. He's going to have his ups and downs, just like any freshman would. He's going to have some tough weekends, whatever. But, I don't know how you could look at that guy and not be just elated that he's on our roster. It's incredible. So let's see. CJ Curry says, so what's your opinion on Madden? Will he be the next Khalil? CJ, I'm totally lost on why you're trying to make that comparison, my guy. I have no clue. Not a clue. Do I think he's going to hit 190? No, I don't. I don't. Of all people, CJ, my guy, I got a lot of love for you, but of all people, my guy, I don't think you should. I'm surprised you'd be the one overreacting to the first weekend. I just let it play, my guy. I think Kevin Madden will be fine. Again, the guy hit 313 at Tech last year. I'm not saying he's going to hit 313 this year, and he might be a bust, but even if he is, I don't think he's going to hit 190. So, no, I think Kevin Madden will be fine. I have no concerns with Kevin Madden. I think he will be fine. I think the dude's a veteran. He'll figure it out. Yeah, so, no, I got you, CJ. All good. Let's see. First on the basketball side of things, because I tweeted this out on Saturday, and I want to address what I was saying in the sense of that I had an updated view on Frank Martin and his status as Gamecocks basketball coach. And I wanted to expand on that a little bit. And again, I don't think it's going to be quite what you all are expecting. I don't know. I don't know what you're all expecting. Again, I've gone on record and said what I've said. And South Carolina got a huge win of the weekend. You're 7-7 now in SEC play. Huge game. I mean, they're all big, but huge game upcoming Wednesday at home. Should be a raucous atmosphere, I'd imagine, right? And so, you're still, I don't think, anywhere near the bubble. Tattoo watch is on, but you're not really near the bubble. You look at bracketology. You probably got to win 3 of your last 4 and win a few in SEC tournament play to even have a chance. But my take on Frank Martin, and again, I don't know. I'm somewhat hesitant to say this because I know in my heart of hearts what I feel like should be done. I know in my heart of hearts that there should be standards and expectations, and no matter the feel good and how much you like somebody, at the end of the day, you got to look at results on the floor. You got to look at overall results and say, if you're not getting the job done, then we got to make a really, really tough decision. But the more I talk with South Carolina basketball fans and those who follow this program, and we've talked about the history and the lack thereof, the lack of success, maybe I'm at fault. Maybe I'm at fault. Maybe I'm in the wrong. And maybe I need to take a step back and look at the bigger picture and realize just how bad the program has been over the course of its history. Just 9 NCAA tournament appearances. So maybe me saying casually, making 3 tournaments a decade, and that's what I want to see. Maybe I am really asking too much. And maybe Frank Martin, maybe he's the perfect coach for us. I mean, maybe, like I said, guys, I don't pretend to be perfect. I don't pretend to be like I know everything I'm talking about. So maybe I'm in the wrong. Maybe what Frank Martin is doing with Gamecocks basketball really just is the best we can do. I mean, maybe it is the ceiling. Maybe going 500 in SEC play or just even close to it. I mean, maybe that's it. I don't know, because I think Gamecock fans love Frank Martin. They've got a lot of admiration for Frank Martin, the way he embraced his USC, obviously what he's done with the Final Four. And I guess who am I to fight that? Who am I to fight that? Again, I come only from a place, guys, of wanting championship aspirations and expectations for all South Carolina sports. But maybe I do need to take into account just how bad the history has been and maybe think of Frank Martin as, you know what? He might not be perfect. He might not reach exactly the levels that I want to see. But you know what? Maybe I need to bite my tongue and just embrace and accept the fact that maybe he is getting the absolute most out of what Gamecocks basketball is. Maybe this is it. Maybe he's squeezing blood out of a rock, and I just need to shut up and be happy with it. So I've told you guys all season, if I need to readjust my expectations accordingly, then I guess I'll do that. You know what I mean? And who knows? Maybe you get G.G. Jackson. Maybe the next decade's better than the last. But, you know, I maybe I'm in the wrong. You know what I mean? Maybe I'm in the wrong of the NCAA tournament or bust, because fans have made it very clear that's never been the expectation at South Carolina. So maybe I'm off base for making it or asking for it to be the expectation. Again, I know what I feel in my heart of hearts, what I think should be done. You know, if you've really got expectations and you really got standards and you look at the last decade, which is a long time, by the way, which is a very long time. But again, I think it's very clear that folks are pretty happy with, you know, just being just good enough. You know what I mean? Just being just good enough. And if that's something I need to accept, if that's the pill that I need to swallow, then I guess so be it. You know what I mean? I don't know. I don't know, because I don't want to be the guy after you beat an LSU saying, well, Frank still needs to be fired. Like, I want to be happy to win. And this is a conversation, guys. It's not going away. We'll reevaluate after the season. And I'm not necessarily going off of what I said earlier in the year that, yeah, I think if you miss the NCAA tournament, I think at minimum you have to look at yourself in the mirror and just ask yourself, okay, is this good enough? Now, if you get a G.G. Jackson, hey, you know what? All of a sudden, things might change. That I talked about it, right? I talked about it even when I went on the it's time to move on from Frank Martin's stance. I said one of three things has to happen for Frank Martin to return next season. Number one, win games. Flat out. Win games and make the tournament. That's number one. Number two, land a game-changing prospect. And I think G.G. Jackson would probably be that guy, seeing as he is the number one prospect in all of college basketball. And if those first two things don't happen, you don't make the tournament, you don't land a game-changing prospect, then my third option was, hey, you got to make a change to re-energize Gamecocks basketball and re-energize the fan base around South Carolina basketball. So one of those three things I think has to happen, okay? And right now, I don't know which one is most likely, to be honest with you. Again, we've got season left to play. We've got an SEC tournament left to play. Who knows if you make a postseason? Who knows if I'm getting a tattoo? But one of those three things, which one is most likely, we'll find out. But, you know, guys, I don't know. I know it's not all Gamecock fans, and I have a voice and a platform and I speak, but I'm really tired of arguing with a lot of South Carolina fans regarding Frank Martin and the standards of the basketball program. And you know what? If South Carolina fans are happy with what the product is, then, you know, again, who am I really to fight them? Who am I to fight them? Who am I to fight them? You know, if this is it, then just give Frank Martin a blank sheet of paper and let him sign his name and write his own money total, write his own contract, and just let him stay forever. You know what I mean? Because he'd have to lose every game in SEC play to be relieved of his duties. He'd just have to. Because I think Gamecock fans are so appreciative of just not being in the
Call
depths.
from
Luke RJ.
Here we go. Let's go to the phone line.
to accept, press.
Luke RJ, what's going on, man? How are you?
I'm good. What's up, Chris?
Just hanging out, man. What's going on?
It's good to talk to you today, man. That was a big weekend right there, man.
Yeah, very, very busy. Very busy.
Man, that LSU game, man, we pulled it out. Oh, man, it was great. Seeing the team win and Frank rocking the Final Four pullover. That was awesome, I thought.
Yeah,
What'd
yeah,
you think?
it was the Final Four pullover was interesting. I kind of would have rather him said he was rocking it for G.G. Jackson. I guess he probably can't say him by name. But, you know, he said he was rocking it to remind some people that, you know, we were pretty good here. I would ask you this. Can you imagine Will Muschamp rocking on the sideline in, like, 2020? Can you imagine him rocking his 2017 Outback Bowl champion polo? Can you even imagine that? How silly that would have been? I mean, again, it's blasphemous it'd be blasphemous to say that on social media, but I don't mind it. I don't care. But I just, again, can you even fathom if Will Muschamp would have done that? Like, Just wanted to remind y'all we were pretty good at one time. So, anyways, though, yeah, I'm happy with the win, man. Again, this basketball team continues to prove me wrong. And, again, I said it earlier in the year, even when they were playing poorly, was that, I like the team. I like the shooters. I mean, I wouldn't have partnered up with an Eric Stevenson, made him a TSUS athlete if I didn't like him and like some of the pieces and just like the team overall. I like the individual pieces. I like Devin Carter a lot. But yeah, I mean, they've that LSU win was a big one. That LSU win was a really, really big one. Yeah. So they continue to prove me wrong. Like I said, you got a big opportunity now coming up against Mississippi State. I mean, the beautiful thing about college basketball is this: is it doesn't matter about Vegas or predictions or anything. If you get hot, you get hot, and you can go on a run. So I think that's what you're seeing.
Yeah, I think the pullover thing in the Muschamp comparison is kind of a little bit different. I mean, I hear what you're saying. Yeah, that would have been dumb for Muschamp to do that. But so I wanted to get your thoughts on, Frank's been talking the last two weeks or so about recruiting and stuff like that, and he said he wasn't going to cheat. He's not going to do that, and he wasn't going to build his program on shortcuts, and we all know when he was talking about that. But now with NIL, the big thing with Frank has always been that he couldn't get players to come there. Mm-hmm. So do you think now that he can give them some incentives or anything like that, that maybe he can change getting some of the local players to stay and maybe get some high profile players now that NIL is legal and he can do that stuff illegally now?
Well, Luke RJ, I'm going to tell you this. If we don't throw the bag at G.G. Jackson, I promise you somebody will. So if we want him, we better do something. I can tell you that because, hey, I love USC. I think it's an awesome place. Facilities, fans, all that good stuff. That's all fine and dandy. But you know what? If UNC's willing to give him $250,000 and we're not willing to give him a penny, he ain't coming here. I'm just going to tell you that right now. So I don't think Frank Martin's going in his own checkbook and doing it, but we need a booster or somebody the way we did some other football guys that I won't mention by name, but we need a booster or someone behind the scenes to step up. And, hey, if we want basketball to turn a corner and maybe re-energize things under Frank and maybe push it to the next level, I should say, then, yeah, whatever you want to call it, NIL, throw in the bag, I don't care what it is, man. Yeah, we need to do that. We need to do that. So all that honor and stuff, that's all great and everything, and you want to build it the right way, that's all fine and dandy, man. But you know what? When you have your end-of-year meeting and you didn't make the tournament, you didn't win enough games, they're not going to give a damn that you did it the right way. They're just going to know that you didn't get it done. So, yeah, I mean, listen, I think every school is going to use NIL to their advantage. There's always been loopholes in recruiting and paying players, and it's going to continue, especially for a guy like G.G. Jackson, who is the number one prospect in the entire country. So, I think we need to do something for sure. I'm not saying, hey, man, go cheat, but I am. But I am saying that. I am saying that. I am saying
it's all legal now. It's all legal.
In some ways, yes. In some respects, yes, it is. In some respects, yes. But, yeah, I mean, just you want to make a splash, do whatever you got to do to get the kid. That's it. Bottom line. Do whatever you got to do. I'm turning the other way.
Okay,
I don't care what you do.
The other thing is, it's going to be hard to beat Alabama at Alabama and, of course, Auburn at Auburn. It may be possible, I don't know. But I'm hoping that we take care of Mississippi State at home and then Missouri at home for sure. We got to have those two. And then if we go 2-4, then say, win 2 games, maybe get some, lower teams in the rankings again and match up well and maybe win 2. How many do you have to win the tournament? I was just thinking 2-4, maybe 2 wins. I don't know if that'll be enough, but what are your thoughts on that?
So you're okay. So we're talking to find. I think to get even remotely close to making it. You gotta go 3-1 your last 4 games, and you probably got to win 2 or more games in the SEC tournament to have a shot. What's troublesome?
How many games do you have to win to?
What? How many games you what?
How many wins do you have to win the tournament, the SEC tournament?
What is it, like 5? Is it 5? Something like that. I think it's 5.
Yeah. So maybe what if
South Carolina is not winning the SEC tournament, my guy. The Gamecocks are not on the level of Auburn,
no.
Tennessee, Kentucky. It's not even close.
Oh, I know that. But maybe, because if you say we play LSU again or somebody with the same, level of their record and everything, and somebody that's got an even record, maybe we could get 3 games with 2 and 4 and 3 being up. I don't know.
I tell you this, my guy. I don't know. I don't have a set number of how many you got to win, but you just got to win, man. Because I tell you this, what's again troublesome right now for me is I look at Joe Lunardi's bracketology, and I'm not saying he's the all-knowing bracket guy, but there's a reason he gets paid to do it, right? And you look at like his bracketology, and he's got the bracket, he's got the last 4 in, first 4 out, next 4 out, and then the next 4 out. Dude, we're not even like remotely on the bubble.
Yeah.
We're not even remotely there. So, I mean, I don't know how many you got to win, bro, to be honest with you. I don't know. You look at net rankings, we're not ranked very highly there. And I don't know what all the computer stuff and why it's offensive efficiency and how they compute all that. But I'll put it this way. And if that happens, what a story it'd be. I'd love to have to do it. There's a reason I put a tattoo on the line, because the odds, I'd still say right now, the odds of it happening are less than 10%. Less than 10%. You'd have to go on a crazy run, man. Which, who knows? I mean, this team's playing with insane confidence. I mean, every game you win, it's like, man, like you got more and more confidence. And just, again, who knows? You get hot. But, yeah, it's I don't really know what the number is that you have to win. I can't really put a number on it. You just got to keep winning. That's it. I think you got to keep winning. So,
all right. Last thing is, thoughts about the baseball, the baseball hitting, and then, who do you think had the best stuff coming out of the bullpen? I know we saw 30 different people, it seemed like, and that's good. I love to see people getting an opportunity and see who can handle the stage and stuff. So who do you think came out of the bullpen the best, and what did you think of the bats and not getting extra base hits and a little bit?
Yeah, no. So we'll start with the positive. We'll start with the positive. The bullpen. I thought really outside of Cade Austin's performance on Friday, and I'm not meaning to throw dirt on the kid or anything, but he didn't throw well. It's no secret he didn't throw the baseball very well. Outside of that, I thought the bullpen looked pretty good. The guy that really stood out to me, I mean, Wesley Sweat, I think that was a surprise. I'm not sure I really expected Wesley Sweat to be a huge contributor this year. And he threw the baseball really well, both on Friday and Sunday, got the save on Friday. I thought Michael Esposito, I know he didn't throw well yesterday, but I tell you what, watching him on Saturday, an inning pitch, 2 strikeouts, that kid's got some nasty shit. I mean, he's got some really nasty shit. 93, 94 from the left side. Breaking ball is really good. Got that funky delivery, which I think is going to make him really lethal. So I liked what I saw from him. Espo, I think, is going to be one of our top bullpen arms. I thought Noah Hall looked good. I know yesterday, I believe, he allowed a run. Yeah, 2 innings, 1 earned run, but I thought he looked good. He's certainly going to be a guy we're going to depend on. Of course, Braswell, my goodness, an inning pitch and a struck out the side yesterday. You did see a ton of arms. And again, I think it's still going to be a thing where you're going to have to piece it together. CJ Wines threw well on Saturday, had an inning and 2 strikeouts. So you're going to have to continue to piece it together and find out who your guys are. I think that Josiah Seitler needs to go back to being a bullpen arm. He's not a weekend guy. He's just flat out. I'll tell you this. I'll go on record and say this. I'll be surprised if he starts Sunday this week. The stuff just it's not weekend caliber. I'd rather see I don't know, man. I'd rather see a CJ Wines or even a John Gilreath. Let them start. You know what I mean? So I still think the bullpen is kind of my concern moving forward because you just don't have the power arms to lean on. You really don't have guys. It's not like everybody out of the bullpen's throwing 95 miles an hour. That's not saying they can't be good. That's not saying they can't be good. Parker Coyne threw well. He's another big arm for you. But I still think that you're kind of piecing it together. The dudes you're going to be mainly leaning on right now that I see, Hall, Esposito, Sweat. I think Braswell needs to pitch more. I really do. Just his moxie and his makeup and his swag, I think that fits the role of a closer. But, you got to continue to find out just who your dudes are, bottom line. You need to get Julian Bosnick back. That's a huge piece of this thing. Again, no slight on Josiah Seitler, but he's not a Sunday guy. He's just not. The fastball is not overpowering. The breaking ball is very average. And the changeup's good when it's spotted, but it's just really hard to make a living in this league or just college baseball in general now throwing 88. It just is. If you're not spotting up ridiculously, if your stuff doesn't have crazy movement, it's just going to be really hard to make a living. So I think he can be a bullpen guy for us. I think he can be a midweek, but he does not need to be pitching on Sundays. As far as the bats go, man, I mean, I'll tell you this. Whatever you did in the late innings, you need to find a way to channel that the entire game because, hey, the ninth inning of both Saturday and Sunday and then Friday proved this team can hit. Here's the crazy thing. And, yeah, I talked about the extra base hits. But, I mean, you had 13 hits on Friday. You had 11 hits on Saturday. And you had 11 hits on Sunday. Like, if you'd have told me those totals, I would have signed up for that in a heartbeat. The problem was you just could not get the big knock. You just, for whatever reason, and it's not uncommon for the first weekend for the pitching to be a little bit ahead of the hitting because the hitters, first game action, and, you're seeing guys like a lefty throwing 85, 86, and I don't think that's something we're really used to seeing. And of course, they threw their dude yesterday, and once we got him out of there, we were able to finally get something going. But, yeah, we got to be better. There's no question. I mean, whatever that focus you have, that intense focus you brought to the table in the late innings, you got to find a way to scatter that throughout the game. So, that's the big thing. I think the bats will come around. I liked what I saw from a lot of the newcomers. I mean, obviously you talk about Braswell. I liked what I saw from Belk. I think Madden will be fine. Hogan in center looked good to me. And then, of course, your veterans, Eister. I mean, what a weekend. Our MVP of the weekend. Wimmer, I think, is going to do Wimmer things. Burgee, Seitler's going to be fine. So, I think you got enough sticks, but you just got to find a way to bring that focus and intensity you brought in those last innings on Saturday and Sunday and just, again, spread that throughout the entire game. But, you can say whatever you want. Bottom line is this. No matter how it happened, you got the job done. Thank God you got the job done. You won 2 of 3. Now you move into Winthrop. And, again, Mark Kingston talked about it, and I agree with him that, early in this season, and you got to do it quickly, but it's about just finding your best 9 right now, finding the best combo, which guys go where and what situations. And, that's why you saw so many guys out of the bullpen because we're trying to find out who our dudes are. Who are we going to lean on weekend after weekend after weekend?
Yeah.
But, hey, you know what? You won 2 of 3, and now we move to Winthrop tomorrow.
Yeah, they almost pulled off that second game too, man. That would have been nice. I kind of thought when Esposito or then the next guy came in on Saturday that maybe they should have stuck with him a little bit because that one run that they gave up later in the game ended up being the one that, how they got the dub. And
yeah.
But I think with the bullpen, maybe there's some guys that impress enough that maybe they can be a starter too,
Yeah.
I mean, once you find someone that can handle the stage and they got, good stuff, maybe they can, get bumped up to a bigger role and, let them take on the challenge. With the bats, what do you think about different players getting in the lineup and stuff? I mean, I know these veteran guys, deserve to play and they transferred in and stuff like that. What do you think about some of them getting a chance in the lineup?
Yeah, I think you saw young guys get a chance. I mean, look at Lee Croy catching yesterday. Lambros came in late. Hornung got a single for you in the ninth inning. So yeah, I thought a lot of guys played, and I think that's you do have some really talented young players. You know, we got a question here. Somebody asking about why would you sub out Burgee for LeCroy? I think they like LeCroy, you know, and they don't want to have to catch Burgee all 3 games on a weekend. And I like LeCroy. I like his game. And this is the time. This is the time to get him in there and to give him an opportunity. And, you know, you saw him get a base knock late in that game yesterday. So, you know, listen, you've got your veteran dudes. There are pieces that are not going to be taken out of the lineup, my guy. Madden, Belk, Eister, Wimmer. Those guys are not going to be taken, you know, probably Seitler. Those guys are not going to be taken out of the lineup. They're just not. They are your cornerstone. They are your key pieces. Yeah. They got to be in there. But, yeah, I thought they did a good job rotating different pieces in there, and I think you'll continue to see that, especially tomorrow. But, you know, first things first, the first priority is this. You do what you got to do to win. That's the first priority. You'd love to play a bunch of guys, but we just got to win ball games. So, ideally, you'd love to win and win big and empty the bench and get everybody on the field, but it's just not always possible. So, I thought they did a fairly good job, though, of rotating guys in there and giving other guys chances.
Yeah, definitely. So, yeah, man, today, looking forward to hearing from Beamer. I always love to hear from him and the press conference, and hopefully we can get a win in the baseball this week and in basketball. And thanks for taking my call, man. Go Cox.
Luke, appreciate it, man. Thanks so much. 843-790-3377. To my guys, that's 843-790-3377. Like I said, guys, we will be streaming Shane Beamer's presser at 1 p.m. So no breaks. We'll go no breaks for this first hour because there's just so much to get into. There's so much to talk about. Again, guys, like I told you earlier, just switching gears a little bit, my updated thoughts on Frank Martin. Well, let's jump to the phone lines. We got our guy calling in.
From
Robbie Davis, a.k.a. Kirk.
Robbie, what's going on, man? How are you?
I'm good. First things first, can you hear me? Because I know last time we had –
Yeah, you're good. You're good. Yeah.
Okay. First things first, I know I called for the sweep, okay? I don't know why I called for the sweep. I just had a feeling it was going to sweep. I had a feeling, but apparently that feeling was wrong. And like I have told you before, and I'm sure you know this anyways, but teams like UNC Greensboro, College of Charleston, Charleston Southern, the Citadel, Georgia Southern, for some reason, schools like that have a tendency to have really good baseball teams, okay? Not great, but just really, really good baseball teams. And I think Saturday was proof of that because they beat us like a drum. And they almost beat us yesterday, but doggone it. At one point yesterday, I was multitasking. I was watching the girls' basketball game and listening to the baseball game. I was multitasking. My brain was in overdrive, okay? And whenever I heard that grand slam get hit, I was like, oh, yeah. I was like, we fixing to probably hit our stride with this. And then we tie the game up, go into extra innings, get the bases loaded, if I remember correctly. Correct me if I'm wrong. Were the bases loaded whenever we scored the game-winning run, yes or no?
Yes. No, that's correct.
Okay, so I was right the first time. Okay, so the bases were loaded. I was like, okay, all we need is a base hit, and this game is over. We're going home with a series win, and it'll be our 24th opening weekend series win, our 24th consecutive. So I'll be happy. Winning 2 out of 3 is better than losing 2 out of 3. So I'll take it. And of course, the girls, it was close for a minute, but we wound up pulling away, and Aaliyah Boston got another double-double. Good crazy, bro.
Yep, she's filthy.
Go ahead and just give her the Player of the Year award, okay? Either her or somebody. If you ain't gonna give it to her, find somebody else that's been doing better than her. And
Which I don't think is possible.
Good luck.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Good. All I got to say to that is good luck on finding someone that is playing better than Aaliyah Boston right now. Okay. If you do, then you must have a horseshoe shoved somewhere. Okay. And you're extremely lucky. But I highly doubt someone is going to find someone playing better than Aaliyah Boston right now. And I think our pitching staff needs a little work. I think we did really good. Don't get me wrong. Don't shoot the messenger, okay? I'm just being honest with you, okay? So I think there was some time where we pitched and we put it basically exactly where they wanted it, and they took advantage of it. And I'll say the same thing for they pitched to us, and they put it where we wanted it, and we took advantage of it. But if you want to win and have a chance in the late part of the season to make it to a regional or even a super regional, you have to get 3 up and 3 down. No question. You have to be able to, whenever you are on the field and you are on defense, you get 3 up, 3 down, and you go back in there and you go back to work and you get more runs, because I feel like our defense is good enough to hold on to a decent lead, in my opinion, just from what I heard in the games this weekend. And I just think that, like I've said before, once this team hits its stride, I think we could become an absolute force, because we have the pitching staff and the sticks to do it. And by sticks, I mean bats, in case I'm over your head here.
I'm following you. Trust me, I'm following you.
Okay. I just want to make sure I'm not over your head. I mean, I know you're a baseball guy, but I don't want to be over your head and like all that stuff.
Not the first time I've heard sticks before, my guy. Not the first time.
Okay. And dadgum, I don't know what got into Kusnard on Saturday, okay? I don't know, what was it? Yesterday? Hold on. I'm having a
Saturday.
brain fart again. Holy. Okay, yeah. I don't know what he ate or what he drank on Saturday, but whatever the hang he did, he needs to do it again. But imagine this for a second. Imagine this. If Kusnard plays like that, if Keyshawn Bryant were to play like that, and even your boy Stevie making shots on a regular basis, because I can see it. He's a streaky shooter. Once he sees a couple go in, he starts hitting them, and it's insane. Okay. If they can somehow play like that, and our big men stay out of foul trouble, I think we could go on a tiny little run here again. Do I think we'll make the NCAA tournament? Probably not. We would have to win, at this point. We would have to win the conference tournament and be the conference champions in order for us to even have a shot at going to the dance. I mean, there's no question the girls are going to the dance. There's no question. The only question is where are they going to go? But the only chance that the men got is if they win the conference tourney, and I don't think we're good enough and consistent enough to win the conference tourney. I hope I'm wrong. but I don't see it happening.
Yeah, I think that's a pretty safe bet that South Carolina will not win the conference tournament. I think you can.
If we somehow win the conference tournament,
we won't, Robbie. We won't.
I will buzz my head.
We won't. I
Okay,
promise.
then
I promise.
I
promise. We won't.
But I had me a good weekend. I'll probably, most likely, be in Columbia this weekend because I'll be going to, hopefully, with my cousin and his wife to Colonial Life Arena on Friday for the Winter Jam. That will be at Colonial Life Arena. So I will probably be there for that, depending on if I have to talk to my cousin on Wednesday to double check and be sure we're still going to go. But I will be in Columbia for that. And I'm telling you, Chris, I have been writing my dad to try and go to a Tin Roof show for weeks, okay? Turns out he's got a show this Wednesday.
Very nice.
A comedy show this Wednesday.
Very nice.
So, and also, a little side note, my dad officially, as of, I'm guessing a few days ago, officially has koozies.
Really? Very good. Koozies are always good.
And before I forget, I know I've already said this, but I want to say it again. To the people that were praying for my family a couple of weeks ago, thank you. And again, Chris, thank you to you as well. It's still a little hard for me because I used to call him every day. The only days I didn't call my papa was on Saturdays and Sundays because I knew Saturdays he was studying for his sermon and then Sunday he was preaching. So I would call him every day except for those 2 days. And the conversations that I had with my papa, I could sit and listen to him tell stories for hours. Not only was he an All-American in football, okay, he was an All-State basketball player as well. And I asked him one time just because I was curious. I was like, I asked him, I said, if you hadn't met, my Mimi and married her and, had babies with her, where would you have gone to college? And he said, well, I probably most likely would have gone to South Carolina. So, and I just asked him that just because I was curious. I wasn't expecting that answer. And I think, if I remember correctly, he told me one time, he said, because whenever he told me that he talked to Bear Bryant because Bear Bryant was trying to recruit him, and Bear Bryant wanted to come play for him, and he was like, no, I want to be on the team that beats you. That's how confident and cocky my papa was. He's like, I want to be on the team that's going to wind up beating you. He had every right to be confident. He was like 6'4", he was like 6'2" and 300 plus. So, I mean.
Well, yeah, man, I'm glad everything's going well on your end. Obviously, we got your back, my guy. So, if you need anything, just let me know.
And again, if I ever do show up at Tin Roof, I will let you know.
Hey, man, I'll be looking forward to that day. I will be looking forward to that day.
Oh, it'll be insane. I can guarantee you that it'll be insane.
Oh, yeah.
All right, man. You have a great rest of your day. I'm going to fix me some lunch.
Yeah, man. You too. I appreciate you, Robbie. Take care. Good stuff. 843-790-3377. Good old Robbie Davis. Panic Ritter chimed in. Said he's worried about the pitching. Well, Ritter, we're 1 weekend in, and I would say that to some others as well. Listen, I'm not a guy. It's funny, though. It's funny looking at social media. I'm not a guy that is one of those that, I played the game, so I know more than you do. You know what I mean? Like, everybody's got an opinion. Everybody's opinion is, we should respect it. But I will say, with that being said, it's very easy to tell who the non-baseball people are and who the baseball people are. You know, people freaking out after losing one game. There's a 56-game season. The goal every weekend is to win 2 out of 3. Hell, Florida lost 2 of 3 to Liberty, my guy. You know, Arkansas lost on Friday to Illinois State. It's baseball, man. It's the beauty of the game. Craziness can happen. And again, I'm not someone on my high horse saying, well, I played the game in college and I did this and I did that. And, you know, I'm not going to be that guy talking down to people. But I said it last week. Before the season started. You can't take a football mentality into baseball because shit happens. Teams lose. It's a round ball, round bat. It's a random game. That's the beauty of it. That's what makes it great. So I will say this, Ritter, to your point of the pitching. I'm very intrigued to see how this staff evolves. Because, again, I don't really look at this pitching staff and see a bunch of power arms. I don't. Now, that's not to say that we don't have a bunch of guys with good stuff. I'm not saying that. You know, again, I think Esposito's stuff is filthy. I mean, 93, 94 from the left side, I thought his stuff was filthy. But as I said in the preseason, you're going to need like a Wesley Sweat to keep pitching well and to step up. You're going to need a Parker Coyne, man, to pitch well. You're going to need a John Gilreath to be a contributor. You know, you're going to need those guys to contribute. And then you've got the Espositos, the Noah Halls. I think Braswell needs to be used off the bump. I really do. I think Braswell needs to be used. I love the moxie. His stuff is good, by the way. 91, 92, that slider's filthy. And you need to get Julian Bosnick back. So I think you can piece it together, but you got a couple of dudes that really have to pitch well. They've got to pitch well for you. Luke RJ, thoughts about the last at-bat for Braswell? I know he came through and got the run in to win the game, but isn't that a suicide squeeze situation? I mean, Luke, if you wanted to do that, you could have, but it's not like that's the only – you just needed to get the run in, whether that be hit a ball to the outfield. They had the infield in. You know, luckily for him, he hit it to a spot and hit it hard enough where you know, he hit it hard and hit it to the third baseman's left side, and he bobbled it. Once he made that bobble, it was over. He had to go home because it's either you get the double play or you got to get the runner at home. So, you know, just hit it right spot, and it worked out, and, you know, he did his job. He did it. So the walk-off, it was meant to be. It was meant to be. So, let's see. And I see Justin Kyle. I don't know what, Justin Kyle, you woke up on the wrong side of the bed, my guy, or what. But you're just not going to find me on a Monday after winning a series upset, my guy. So if you're looking for a show where people are going to feed into what you're saying and bitch and moan after winning 2 or 3, then especially after the win yesterday and the craziness that was, maybe there's somebody out there that'll do that for you. But it's just not. It's not going to be me, man. Baseball's too tough a game. It's a game of failure. So when you do win, if you know anything about the game of baseball, then you will understand what I'm talking about. So listen, this is far from a perfect team. It was opening weekend. Were we clicking all cylinders? Hell no. Did I expect this to? Hell no. But I will say this, tip the cap some to UNCG. They do have a decent squad, man. I mean, I watching that team, it would not shock me at all to see UNCG in the postseason. Like, I thought they looked pretty good. You know, that kid they threw yesterday, that starter, he was a dude. He was a legit dude. Not overpowering, but the way he spun it, located it, you know, I thought he was a real dude. So, I mean, listen, you win 2 out of 3. That's the goal every weekend. You win 2 out of 3. Maybe you can take advantage next weekend. And, you know, you obviously got to beat Winthrop tomorrow. But if you can sweep George Washington, you know, build some momentum, you know, that would be ideal. That would be ideal. But, you know, I take away from the weekend, man, the win anyway. Win anyway lives on in Columbia, South Carolina. And, again, man, after that walk-off and the heroics and again, this is not football. It's not even basketball where style points are a thing. Style points matter. You know, that's not a thing in baseball, man. A win is a win is a win is a win. We don't need to win 25-3 for me to feel good about our baseball team. Just go win the games. Just go win. That's it. Just go win. So for this team to be down, 7-1, score 6 in the 9th, and come back and get that dub, hey, tip of the cap, man. What a game, what a victory. And you get 2 or 3. So we'll see how it plays out again. It's one weekend. But it's funny because I tweeted this too, and I'm going to do my best. I'm probably going to break my own rule, but I'm going to really do my best to not respond to the slapdicks this season because it's just pointless. The people that don't get baseball, that are going to bitch in the 3rd inning that we need to fire Mark Kingston or fire this coach or hey, just call the season, it's over. Like, those people are never going to change, man. They're never going to comprehend. They're never going to understand. And that's okay, but I'm done arguing with those people. So, hey, if you want to mail it in because we lost 1 game this weekend, don't let the door hit you on the way out. Because you know what, guys? I don't give a damn if you watch or not. I'll be at the ballpark for every single ball game, pretty much all of them. So, if Slapdick Johnny with 10 numbers in his handle on Twitter wants to say, I'm not watching again until Kingston fire, then that's fine. You can do that. Nobody cares. You've ever seen the SpongeBob gif? Nobody cares. Truly. Like, it's ridiculous, man. So either way, hey, it feels good to be good. You win 2 out of 3. Let's try to build some momentum now, man. Off that game on Sunday. Go get the win tomorrow. Take care of business against George Washington. And then, we got App State the win week next week. And then you got Clemson. So it'll get real very fast. And we're going to find out where we are quickly. But it is a long season. It is a marathon. It is not a sprint. It is a marathon. It's not a sprint. So let it play out. Either way, you won 2 or 3. You got the job done. Guys, Shane Beamer going live here in about 3 minutes or so. We will be streaming this here live if you guys want to stay tuned in. Again, want to continue to hear from you, questions, comments, calls, all that good stuff. Let's see. Let's see. Yeah, and Darrell Wall Jr., I'm not up here like just trying to be a sunshine pumper or but if you're upset after winning 2 of 3, again, I'm not saying, I think it's, you can look at this team and say some things have got to improve, they got to get fixed. That's all fine. I'm not saying don't, break down this team realistically, but to be upset after winning 2 of 3, man, life's too short to be upset after winning 2 or 3, man. It's just, bro, come on, man. Celebrate victories big and small. I don't care who you played. Hey, you know who would have loved to have won 2 of 3? Florida, Mississippi State, Vanderbilt. There are teams out there that are 1 and 2 that wish they were 2 and 1. So, keep it moving, get better, improve, take care of your business tomorrow, and then we'll go into this weekend. And, yeah, the stream this weekend was dog shit. I saw a little bit of it. It was terrible. It was terrible. So it was terrible. Eric Reese, Hicks stat line on Saturday. Good question. James Hicks, 4 1/3 innings pitched, 9 hits, 4 runs, 4 earned, 5 strikeouts. I didn't think Hicks threw all that poorly. I think he had a little bit of misfortune, a little bit of bad luck with some seeing eye singles and balls that really weren't hit that hard. I think he'll be fine for you. But again, guys, I think a real key for this team is getting Julian Bosnick back. I think you got to get Julian Bosnick back. I think he, I like Hicks on Sunday. It's really not even about Hicks. It's just like, if you don't have Bosnick and you got to depend on Seitler or whoever the hell else, I don't know what to tell you. Cocky Twan says recruiting in baseball has to get better. I'll ask you, Cocky Twan, why do you say that? What makes you say that? Like, what makes you think the recruiting is porous? I would just ask that question. Do you follow baseball recruiting that closely? Again, if you do, maybe I'm out of the loop. But if you do, let me know. I didn't know the recruiting was going that bad. Let's see. Here we go. All righty. All right, Shane Beamer about to go live. The stream, it looks like, just started, so we're going to flip over to that, and let's hear what Shane Beamer. Let's see. Let's hear what Shane Beamer's got to say. I'm going to get this fired up. Here we go. This shouldn't be that long, I think, introducing a tight ends coach. I don't know what else they could be talking about, but we'll see. All right, let's go ahead and jump into it. All right, I'm going to jump off here, guys. We'll all tune in and hear what Beamer's got to say. Wait on Corey. Corey gets here. Start. You made it, right? Yeah, exactly.
Corey gets up. Good start. Let Coach make an opening statement for a few minutes. He has a few things to say, and then we'll introduce the new assistant coach.
All right, thanks for coming out. Thanks, Steve. Don't know if I'll be as entertaining as Coach Martin was in his press conference earlier this morning. I saw some of his quotes. So I got to reach out to him and follow up with him on a couple of those as well. But what a great weekend. First of all, for Gamecock Athletics, was obviously at the women's game yesterday. Congrats to Coach Staley and her team. What an awesome environment and an example for so many to see about what this place is about and the fan support we have here. That was awesome to be a part of. I was in Myrtle Beach for a clinic on Saturday and was saying that the clinic was at the same hotel that our softball team was staying in. I know they had an awesome weekend down in Myrtle Beach. So congrats to Bev and her squad. Big weekend for baseball. A dramatic win yesterday. And was texting with Coach Kingston last night and told him never in doubt, and just like they drew it up. So fun weekend for those guys. And huge win for women's tennis over Clemson. Good performance by swimming and diving. I know at the SEC Championships in Knoxville, some individuals that really performed well for them. The huge win for men's basketball over LSU on Saturday, and then our men's tennis team and their big win over nationally ranked Kentucky. So I apologize if I left anyone out, but just was thinking of those and earlier on. But awesome weekend for Carolina Athletics, and glad to be back in town here for a while and not have to be traveling for recruiting, and really looking forward to getting out and watching more and more of these teams as we get into the springtime as well. A lot going on with football right now, really busy. Month of February is a dead period in recruiting, so recruiting-wise, nobody's visiting your campus, but obviously the phone calls and the FaceTimes and the letter writing and the text messages and the film evaluation, that doesn't slow down, that only cranks up. So we're busy with that from a recruiting standpoint, eager to get so many talented, elite prospects back on our campus in March when things open back up. Doing a lot of studies as a coaching staff right now on how to be better, looking back at last season, the things that we did well, didn't do well, why we lost games, why we won games, and how to continue to move that forward. Our guys are really doing a great job in the weight room with Coach Day and his staff. We've gotten into being able to do some more activities with them as a coaching staff now that we're back in town and off the road recruiting. So it's been really great to be able to get back involved and jump into that with those guys as well, and be able to do some walkthroughs and some competitive things on the field a couple nights a week that the NCAA allows. Spring practice, it's hard to believe it's cranking up, 3 weeks from tomorrow, I think, March 15th. When our guys get back from spring break. So really looking forward to that, and our spring game on April 16th. I know there's so much excitement and will continue to be about the environment and the atmosphere that will be. Going to have some awesome recruits that have already reached out to me that will be here that night. So we need to make that the most attended spring football game, Garnet and Black game in South Carolina football history, because it's going to be an awesome night for sure. Our coaches clinic is coming up on March 25th. Really excited about the group of speakers that we have coming in for that. Danny Smith from the Pittsburgh Steelers, Matt Rule from the Carolina Panthers, and Brett Favre, who will be really entertaining when he's here as well. So that's going to be a fun weekend, getting to visit with so many great coaches across the area as well. And then our Ladies' Day will be on April 2nd also. I think we've still got some spots left on that one, but that is filling up quick. And I know from bumping into so many interested participants yesterday at the women's basketball game, there's a lot of excitement about that, and really looking forward to being a part of that on April 2nd also. So much going on with Gamecock football. And looking forward to continuing to get better here these next few weeks and then get out on the field for spring practice. Know you guys are here today to hear from Jody and somebody that I'm really excited about adding to our program. I've known Jody Wright for almost 20 years since I was at Mississippi State. And I was still young and just getting into the profession, and he was just getting into the profession, but was obvious in his work ethic and what a go-getter he is. And then since then, somebody that I've kept in touch with over the years and have always had a lot of respect for. A guy that's coached multiple positions, which I think is really appealing from a coaching standpoint. The fact that he's coached different positions on offense, he's coached the entire offensive line for a highly successful program at UAB. NFL experience with 2 different NFL teams and the football that he's learned there. Also, Coach Saban and the University of Alabama have hired him not once but twice. So I think that speaks volumes as well. And then you guys will find out he is a people person that I've yet to find anybody to ever say, I probably haven't looked hard enough, anybody to say anything bad about him. But I talked to the last 3 head coaches that he worked for, Joe Judge, Freddie Kitchens, and Bill Clark at UAB, along with so many others when I was, thinking about bringing him on board our staff. And all 3 of those guys couldn't have been more over the top in their praise of him, as well as the people that he's been around, the other assistant coaches. He's a fantastic recruiter. His experience there will help us in so many ways. And then he's just a great fit for our staff, and that's what I was looking for with this position, somebody that would be a great fit for our tight ends and where they're going and continuing to build on the things they did last year, but then in our offensive staff room and overall coaching staff as well. He'll be a great fit from a knowledge standpoint, from a recruiting standpoint, personality standpoint, and has done a great job in his short time here, and excited about him being here with us and looking forward to you guys getting to know him. So with that, I'll be glad to answer any questions before we turn it over to Jody.
Shane, you mentioned it's a dead period and everything, but is there, from the recruiting stand, I know you never stop, is there anything you're looking to actively add before spring practice, like a position of need, saying we got to go get this before March begins? Not
really. There's certainly still some positions in need. We actually had a walk-on tryout 2 weeks ago, I believe, and I had a lot of great competitors, students that came out that day to try out. So I want to thank all those guys from our student body that came out for that walk-on tryout. We had them over here at 6 a.m., and it was a huge group of guys. And we only have a limited number of roster spots available, but we kept some guys out of that tryout that we're excited about that, you kind of look at them and it's like, how'd they end up here and not playing somewhere else and not on the football team when they came here? So looking forward. So those are some positions, David, that I think will help us in spring practice as well. We're pretty well set. If you look at the depth, the tight end position's a concern right now just because of the lack of depth going into spring practice with where we are at that position and just bodies, but that's nothing imminent that we're going to hire anyone. And then I think certainly as we go through spring practice, kind of see where we are as a team and where we need more depth at and more competition at, and we can certainly look to address that after spring practice.
Shane, I think Frank got asked about this morning too, but as far as NIL stuff, I know that's something that's come up a little bit more, at least over the last year, and now that you guys have had kind of a year with it a little bit, I guess, how is that something that y'all are incorporating into recruiting, if at all? How much are you guys allowed to do with it, and what's sort of that been like? I know it's a little bit of a moving target with it some.
Yeah, no, it is. It's certainly changing and a lot more on the minds of the young men that we recruit now compared to last year at this time. So we're not going to bury our head in the sand and pretend like it's not an aspect that young men are looking at. I mean, they're bringing it up to us in conversations, and we tell them, like we tell every prospect, that I believe that at the University of South Carolina, we're as well situated as any program out there for them to be able to capitalize on opportunities because of this fan base, because we're the capital of South Carolina, because we don't compete with other pro sports, because in this state we're in the SEC, on and on and on and on and on. And we certainly can't, arrange deals and things like that as well. But we're certainly trying to make our young men that we're recruiting aware of the possibilities that are here and what some of our guys have done and what may be coming and things like that as well. I'm thankful for Chance Miller and Hillary Cox and our administration that are on the forefront of it and doing a great job of, one, educating our student athletes, but two, constantly trying to stay one step ahead and put our guys in the best position to be able to capitalize on opportunities while they're here in college.
3 weeks out, do you know of anyone that's going to be limited or miss spring practice at all?
No, I should have. You got me, Colin. I should have brought an injury report in here. We'll certainly have some guys that are limited as we go into it. Nobody that I think is just going to be completely, out. I'll have a better idea of that next time we come in here. I know we've got a couple things planned with you guys and ladies before spring practice starts, but nobody that we're just going to say is not going to be able to do anything, but certainly guys like you guys that are aware of, Wanham's coming off surgery, Luke Doty's coming off his injury. I don't think they're going to be necessarily 100% when we start practice, but they're all trending in the right direction, and we'll all be able to do something during the springtime.
You mentioned the walkthroughs and the competitive toughness stuff. How much can you learn about your team during that, and what have you learned getting to observe some of that stuff? That's
a good point, or good question. I think you can learn a lot. One, we're able to watch them run around, and you see the athleticism, and you see that from just a physical skill set standpoint. But you learn a lot about them, just their competitive spirit, and it's been fun being out there with them. We've only been out there with them for a couple nights, but building on what Coach Day's done in the weight room, this is a group that I think they're very businesslike and professional when they go out there. They go out there to get their work done, and they're very professional and mature about it. And I think we're excited about, I know I'm excited about the new additions to the program. When they come in, they don't look lost. They stand out when they go out there. We've got some guys that are new arrivals that love to compete and have done a great job of coming right in and jumping into what we're doing and doing a great job of it.
Hey, Shane. Are you trying to kind of establish the program as a destination place for transfers, or do you think you've kind of already done that with this latest class of transfers? And if so, how important is that to you?
I would like to establish this as a destination place for any young man that wants to come and get an elite education and play football at the highest level in college athletics in the SEC. And I think that the program that we have here and the environment that we've created, people are seeing that you can come here and you can have a great experience as a student athlete, period, whether you're coming from another college or whether you're coming from the high school ranks. And in regards to the transfers specifically, Gene, I think it all depends on the experience that the guys before you had, and certainly the guys that we brought in as transfers this year had a great experience and played meaningful snaps for us, whether it be our starting quarterback with Jason Brown or the David Spalding and Carlins Patel, who were our starting nickels the entire season, and guys that did a great job on special teams like Debo Williams, and on and on and on and on, but the guys that we brought in. So if you look at every transfer that we brought in last year, you don't look at any of them and say, we missed on that guy. Knock on wood. I mean, we did a great job of hitting on all of them. And then those transfers that came in here this year, the new ones, I think they saw what those guys did last year and certainly saw that, guys can come in here and have a great experience. And this is an environment that a lot of guys want to be a part of. And I want that to be the case for everyone, because we always want to start with the high school recruiting and always will, but certainly every year you're going to have to utilize the transfer portal, some years more than others.
What have you seen from Spencer Rattler, both in terms of whatever you've been able to see in the weight room and on the field, and also his interaction with the players in the offensive room? And secondly, his dad is pretty active in social media. It appears, good and bad stuff. What's your relationship with him, and is that something you gotta kind of keep an eye on?
Good and bad, those are your words. I mean, some people may not think I don't know what he's doing on social media, but I don't think it's much of anything. I think his dad's a hell of a person, and I love his dad. He's a great family. Spencer is very, 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 very grounded, and and a great young man. Looking forward to you guys getting to know him. That's what I know about him, and he's done a great job of coming into this program and immersing himself within the team and being a great teammate.
Shane, I guess last Friday the Board of Trustees approved a bunch of contracts and enhancements and raises for some of your guys. I guess it was important to you to to have that done for them. And also, I got to ask, was there anything we can read into the people who were not?
But really, we're asking about dads of players, Phil? I mean, come on, man. Go ahead. I'm sorry. I got 119 dads and moms. Are we going to comment on what all of them are putting on social media? Go ahead.
I guess it was important to you to reward, members of your staff and extend contracts. That was an important deal to get done. And on the other side, is there anything we can look to for the guys on your staff who were not part of that group who got extensions and raises?
I think every situation is different for sure. And I'm thankful that Coach Tanner and our administration, Chance, Dorn Smith, and our board allowed me the opportunity to, take care of some guys. And every situation is different. It may be job offers at other places. It may be conversations that me and that assistant coach had last year when I hired them, about some things that we'd like to do a year from now wise because of their salary and things like that as well. So I think that's where we are right now with that group. But I will say this, I have 1,000% confidence in every single coach, staff member that I have in this program. And if I didn't, and if the people around me didn't, they wouldn't be here. Nobody has ever told me I had to do something with the staff, whether it be hiring, firing, whatever it may be. And I believe in all these guys. I told them that last week, and excited about all of them, and glad we're all together, and excited about the continuity that we're able to continue as well as we go into 2022.
Shane, you kind of mentioned before with the competition standpoint, but how have the players been blending in with the players that obviously were here previously? How's that going? And, one thing in particular that I heard that drew something that Spencer enjoyed with the visit was the nutritional side of it in comparison to some of the other schools. So I didn't know if you could add to that and just, some of that as well.
Yeah, the first part was the new guys coming in. They've done great. Don't look like new guys, and it's a unique situation because last year the guys that we brought into this program, they weren't as maybe as many recognizable names as this year. I don't know how many people knew who Jason Brown was when we brought him in here last year, or Carlins Patel. People know who Spencer Rattler and a lot of these other guys, Terrell Dawkins and Christian Beal Smith, because of where they're coming from. So it's a little bit of a different situation for them this year because of where they're coming from. But they've been great because it is unique. You're coming in, you've rushed for all the yards that you rushed for at Wake Forest, or you've had the defensive plays that you had at NC State, or you threw the touchdown passes that you threw at Oklahoma and caught the passes you did at James Madison and made the interceptions that you made at Central Michigan, talking about all these guys. So you've established some credibility before you came in here. And they're great young men. And I think I've talked about it in here with you guys before. So many of these guys, I mean, we don't just start signing guys to sign guys. I mean, we're very deliberate to make sure they're the right fit for this program as well. And they have been. They've done a great job and have really bought in, worked hard, and done a great job. And the nutrition, there's no question about it. There's so many prospects that we bring on campus, whether it be for a junior day or an official visit, that when the weekend's over, when I'm sitting with them in my office, I'll ask them, what was your favorite part of the weekend? So many of them say the nutrition part of it with Kristen and her team. I mean, they do a fantastic job. And she's an asset for us, and Kristen Coggin is awesome. Jody had worked with her at Alabama and knows her as well. And that's a big selling point because it's and again, thanks to our administration for the resources they give us from a nutrition standpoint, because I know from being at other schools, it's not like this everywhere. And all of our coaches will tell you they have to be very disciplined with their exercise routine and diet, because if you're not careful, you can put on a lot of weight here quickly with the amount of food that's being served throughout the day.
Hey, Shane, just wanted to get your thoughts on what happened at the end of the Michigan-Wisconsin basketball game yesterday. And have you ever been in a handshake line where things got pretty heated between the coaches?
No, I wish I had a great story for you that I had, but I really don't. It was a tough situation. You hate to see that escalate like it did, and certainly, that right after the game like that, it's very intense, for both sides, and the emotions are high, and not to excuse it, but those are intense things at the end of the game, and my father-in-law. Jody knows him. My father-in-law for years was the state trooper, highway patrolman that did all the team security for Mississippi State. So he's got some great stories because he used to guard Jackie Sherrill, back in the day. So he's got some great stories about coming to midfield with Jackie Sherrill and some of the things that opposing assistant or head coaches, those conversations with those guys. But I've got 13 of those experiences, a post-game handshake with a head coach, and I would say they've all been, pretty cordial. There's a couple that are a little bit more short and terse than maybe others, but nothing to that level, and hope there never is.
One more thing. After your performance yesterday before the women's basketball game, any interest from any coaches about bringing you on as the permanent pregame hype man?
Well, that crowd was in such a frenzy yesterday. I told somebody earlier they brought in like the B team because they didn't need that hype guy to do too much because they were already ready to play. But it was pretty cool to be a part of. No entrance. No one's reached out to me today about being that pregame hype person. Maybe they will, but that was a neat experience for me and really awesome, and humbled to be able to go out there and be a part of that atmosphere yesterday, and what an awesome win. And great seeing so many of our former players. Awesome seeing Stephon Gilmore bring his family back for the game. Awesome seeing J.C. Horn there. Great being around, Debo Samuel as well, and getting to visit with him during the game and after the game as well. And seeing Commissioner Sankey here is just a great testament about what was going on in that building yesterday and everything that Don's built.
Shane, I'm curious, is there a way even, a few weeks out before spring even starts for the coaching staff to possibly project anyone that would decide not to be here after spring practice, so maybe you get a little bit ahead in terms of what you would need to look for?
Currently on our team, you mean? No, I would hope not. I mean, I'm sure, at every position, I think we're no different than any other program, across college football. You brace or anticipate, whatever the word is, some potential attrition after spring practice for different reasons. But no, I mean, we're going full speed ahead, Corey, on every single person that's in this program is going to have a remarkable spring and maximize their abilities and put all of themselves in position to have a meaningful role in 2022. And then certainly after spring practice, if this isn't the right situation for them for whatever reason, we'll have those conversations. But, I hope not. And I think it's more, with so many guys, it's playing time. But I do believe, knock on wood, that the guys in our program are having a really great experience here as South Carolina football players because of the people in this program, the way we care about one another, the degree that they're having a chance to complete, here at Carolina, and it's a great place to live. So there's a lot of things that go into it. But again, anyone that's ever left our program, I've had a great conversation with, and we've left on great terms, and hope you don't have many of them, but we'll cross that bridge when we get to it.
Are there any guys you're experimenting with moving positions, or do you guys try to do those things once you're actually in spring practice? We
will. I mean, certainly, we're able to do some of the stuff in the walkthroughs right now. So if a guy is going to be doing something at a different position, now is the time to kind of get the ball rolling on that. Not really. Donovan Westmoreland, who we signed, Donovan's here now. I think we listed him as a edge, I believe, is what he was listed as. Donovan's got some positional flexibility where I think he could be a inside type linebacker, could potentially be an edge guy, rushing the passer. Those are different things that we're, messing around with. Bam Scott, that was on our team last year, that's another similar situation. Those guys have some positional flexibility. But other than that, no, not really. Continuing to kind of evolve, what we're doing with Jaheim Bell and obviously Decarion shown what he can do and continuing to expand his role in different people. But as far as straight up position changes, no.
And part of the reason I asked that was for the edge position specifically with some of the guys you lost last year, and I guess don't have a ton of returning experience per se.
No, we don't, and that's a concern. I mean, it was a concern. It was a concern in recruiting. We knew that was a major position for us because JJ was probably going to leave, which he did, and then Aaron Sterling was leaving. And you've got some older guys there right now with, Strawn and Tyreek Johnson. So that is a position without a lot of depth that we need to continue to expand. And there's different ways of doing that. So there's nobody that we've moved there and said, you're definitely going to be an edge guy, but we've got to continue to find guys to maximize that position. And a lot of that too, Hale, is situational. A guy may be better at, maybe a linebacker on first and second down, and he's a guy that can go play on the edge and rush the passer on third down and do some different things from that standpoint as well. But we've got to, increase the competition and the depth at that position, and then two, find ways to generate a better pass rush too from that spot going forward also.
Shane, you mentioned earlier how you're trying to build South Carolina into a destination that all players want to come play at, but I feel like also you mentioned that assistant coaches this offseason specifically have had a lot of chances and offers to leave but have chosen to stay.
Yeah.
And I'm sure Jody could speak to this also, but I'm curious from your vantage point as the head coach, what are some of the things that you're doing to try to make this a destination for coaches that want to come and coach here?
Good question. One, I think there's a lot that I don't have to do. South Carolina's a great state to live in. Columbia's a great place to live in. And you've got great resources and all the things that I talk about that we have to recruit student athletes here. It's the same thing for us as coaches to give us a chance to be successful. And so that's a fun part of it. You're in the SEC. So there's a lot of reasons that coaches want to come here naturally. And then I think for me personally, the environment that I try and create in here, it's demanding and it's hard work and there's a lot of accountability for the players and amongst the coaching staff as well. But try and treat people right, and I'm not a guy that's going to be, treating people like dogs, during the week and stuff like that. I mean, I've been an assistant coach for 22 years before I became a head coach, and I try not to forget what it was like to be an assistant coach. But a place where they know their families are always welcome and around, and I want the families to be a part of it. This profession's really hard, and there's a lot of time demands because of it. So I want our families to be able to come up here, during the week and feel comfortable and be involved with the players and, hold the assistant coaches accountable, but also give them the freedom to do their jobs. I don't want to be just a micromanager on every single thing and telling Jody how to coach the tight ends or telling Clayton White how to coach the linebackers. Hire good people, let them coach, let them do their jobs, work hard, try and have a lot of fun doing it. And then at the end of the day, just treat people right. And then for me, just trying to be consistent with these guys day in, day out, where they know what they're getting from me, if that makes sense.
Shane, very off topic here, but youth sports, it's not like it was when we were growing up where you played a little bit of everything. Now kids like to specialize in one thing. Good or bad?
Bad, in my opinion. I think I love recruiting athletes that play other sports, and I think you get to see a lot when guys are able to go out recruiting, and you could watch a track meet or you could watch a baseball game, or Ryan Brubaker is a competitive swimmer. I think the more opportunities that you have to compete in different sports only helps you, and just being able to stay active and not get burned out in some sports as well. And again, I'm not knocking anybody that does specialize in one sport, because I know there's a lot that goes into it as well. But at least early on as they're growing up, you and me and a lot of people in this room probably grew up coming home from school and you were just outside playing all day. And I know I got back from the women's basketball game yesterday and my wife went for a walk, and I came home and Hunter, my son, was in the street with all of his buddies playing different sports, and then that turned into like a mega Nerf gun war where they had like armies up and down the street hiding behind bushes. I mean, it was dangerous out there yesterday in the road. But I think the more that guys are just outside and active and playing different things. I wasn't a great athlete in high school by any stretch of the imagination, but I think playing baseball helped me with football, and football helped me with baseball. And the guys that I knew that played 3 sports, I think it kept them fresh and developed a skill set in other sports that helped with the sport they were playing as well.
Involved in the Nerf war at all? Did you get
I
in
was
that
hiding. I was hiding. There was they started shooting at us when we were walking down the street, so we got out of the way. But they had a lot of fun. But so I was not. But they certainly they had a good time. That's for sure.
I was just going to ask, as far as next week, you got JJ, Z, and Kevin. They're going to be at the Combine. I guess just what can folks kind of expect, at least at the NFL level, out of those guys? And, what do you see about those guys that maybe makes them appealing to NFL teams? And sort of what was your experience coaching those guys? I know it was just for a year, but.
Yeah, no, I think great guys, first and foremost. When I've had, some NFL teams have called me asking about those guys already, and I would tell them the same thing, that, you got, those are great guys, first and foremost. A lot of our success, the success that we had, the 7 wins and winning a bowl game, was because of the way that they handled their last year, and they played good football and were good leaders for us. And all 3 of those guys we're certainly going to miss, and they're hard workers that will, business the right way, that won't be an issue for NFL teams off the field. And all 3 of them are the kind of guys that you would want on your team. So I'm excited to watch them perform and wish them the best of luck. Okay. Thanks, guys.
That 5 pounds is for real. I've already put that on the nutrition part. But I guess tell everybody how excited I am to be here, Columbia, and how great everybody's been, the university community, short time, and really excited to get my Meredith, my wife, and my 3 children, Thomas, Wellesley, and Landon, down here at the hopefully next week. So really excited about that, and just like I said, really excited. From the day I walked in here, just how positive, whether it was coaches, players, staff, the vision Shane has and how everybody's bought in, players and staff. It's just been really great, how everybody's working together for a common goal, and looking forward to a lot of exciting things to come.
How's it going, Jody? David Klondiker with the
Hey,
Charleston
Dave, how you
Post and
doing?
Courier. You've been in the NFL the past 3 years. I know you've been in college before, but is it tough? Is it easy to get back into that recruiting style, especially with transfer portal and all the other stuff that's new since you were last in college?
That's a good question, David. I don't, having a lot of buddies, whether they were coaching the SEC, ACC, talking to them and, about players, the draft and stuff in the off season, during the season, hearing about all the new stuff with the transfer portal and everything. And when I left college the first time, the transfer portal was starting to come out, but, it is kind of getting a little bit to speed with that. But Taylor Edwards, does a great job here. He'd worked with me before at some numerous places, and Shane is, really on top of everything with it. And like I said, that's one thing, I think Shane's put together a great staff in recruiting, and, and it's every day we're talking about it. He understands that aspect of it, and always trying to make the roster better, whatever way we can. But it has been, I've kind of hit the ground running first day I got here, trying to watch all the recruits in my area and position, and figuring out who we have on our current roster and all that. So it's been fun, exciting. It's a little bit more exciting when you kind of get to go out and recruit and kind of can affect probably getting the players a little more. And where the NFL, you just have to draft them, or whoever's got the most money to pay them in free agency usually gets them. But it's been really good, and in the SEC at the top level of it, it's really great. And like Shane said, I think there's so many things that he's done. With this great university, great city, and it's great staff, and when guys come on here and see everything, and all the great players and great coaches that have come through South Carolina before, it's really we really got something really great to sell.
Hey, Jody, Pete Iacobelli with the Associated Press here in town. How is being part of college coaching and then NFL coaching, how has that helped you? How has that helped your career? And is it a really vast difference between the two?
I've always, always wanted to coach in the NFL, something I was fortunate enough to do with two great organizations, the Browns and the Giants. But I think, same way with high school. My father was a high school football coach for a long time. Both my brothers are high school coaches. And I think I always tell people in high school, the relationships, if you can make them, a better player, better person, to help them, hopefully be part of winning a championship. And a lot of guys have aspirations to go play college. I said they'll always listen to you if you can bring something of value to them. And there's so many great high school coaches that do that. And then same way in college, if you can help them, hopefully become a better young man that's going to go out and be a productive citizen one day. And hopefully if they have the talent that they can go make money playing football in the NFL. And I think when you get to the NFL, it's the same way. If you can help them extend their career, find a way to gain an extra yard by technique or an extra sack by taking this step and where they can prolong their career or make more money playing that and hopefully win a championship too, I think they'll listen to you. And that's one thing, I guess being a coach's son, same way, Coach Beamer is, I think we were both fortunate enough to have dads, I think, that taught us, about caring about the person first more than just that they were X and an O. And that's what they always said about Coach Beamer. I always heard, Frank Beamer, Coach Frank Beamer, and you never heard a coach never wanted to leave working for him, and you've never heard a player do anything but praise him. And I know Shane got to see that coming up, and, I think you ask anybody here, I think he's the same way his dad is. It's a great place to work. He's a great place to coach and great place to learn underneath him. And same thing with players, they love him and love being part of his program.
Hey, Jody, Ben Portnoy with the state newspaper here in Columbia. Just obviously you and Shane worked together a while back, and I know y'all were both pretty young at that point, but what do you kind of remember about working with Shane at Mississippi State and being a part of that staff with Joe and Freddie and all of those guys?
Oh, yeah, we had a great staff. I think we were all very fortunate to see Sylvester Croom, who in my opinion is one of the greatest men and greatest coaches. Wouldn't be here today if it wasn't for Coach Croom. And Coach Croom was the first minority head coach in the Southeastern Conference. And, everything he did with that and, a lot of things at Mississippi, how he, changed young men's lives and, still taught a lot of those guys today that are coaches and different things and the impact he made. And, and I think with Shane, when he was on the staff there, you always, man, that's Frank Beamer's son, Coach Frank Beamer's son. But Shane, from the first day you met him, he was just always so humble, hardworking, really, really good recruiter. I remember Anthony Dixon, a really great running back we had at Mississippi State. And, and Anthony had come there as a freshman and I think was kind of looking for somebody to latch to and everything. And Shane did such a great job coaching him his freshman year. And I remember when Shane left, he was literally – this guy just had a great year. I think he was, all freshman SEC. And I remember he was crying in the football office, because he hated to lose Shane as a coach. I think it's because – he poured so much into them and made them better, not only as football players, but as people. And that was one thing I always respected about Shane, the way he got the most out of his players and just the way he did it, and was just a guy everybody always loved on staff. And I was really surprised. I think, I always thought Shane was probably been a head coach or even sooner. I think South Carolina got a steal in him because, I think he's a guy that's, like I said, being around his dad, he was probably ready 10 or 15 years ago to be a head coach. So, but very fortunate to work with him at a young age, learned a lot from him. So many guys on the staff, Woody McCorvey, that was at Clemson, Joe Judge, it was just got through being the head coach of the Giants, Freddie Kitchens. We had a lot of really great J.B. Grimes, offensive line coach, had a lot of really great coaches on that staff that I was fortunate enough to, being young and dumb, got to learn a lot from.
Hey, Jody, Mike Huber, Gamecocks Central.
Hey, Mike, how you doing?
You had the opportunity, as you alluded to, being able to coach with Shane a little bit when he was a little bit younger at Mississippi State, and you've had an opportunity to coach for one of the best college coaches of all time, in Nick Saban. Being able to see a young Shane and now seeing him now and being able to work with a guy like that, what have you noticed in terms of some of the qualities he's grown with and maybe some similarities he's kind of showed? I know it's tough to compare to Nick Saban, but trying to just see what he's been able to do in terms of creating his own program here.
Yeah. Like I said, Coach Saban, I wouldn't be where I am today without, his influence and so much I learned from him. And I always judge people. I always say, I always want to work for people that you would want your son to play for, and I would, love for my son. Hopefully, if he ever played college football, I'll play for Coach Beamer. Same way with Coach Saban. You want your son because you know how much they're going to make them better people, better football players all the way around. And I think all coaches have different styles. I think, Coach Saban never tried to emulate anybody and was confident in the way he did things. But I think they're both such great, understanding basically their staffs, their players. Both are really, really into recruiting and understand the aspect of that. I think they're both great evaluators of talent, understanding what it takes to play at the highest level of college football. And also I think both of them do a great job of understanding what guys will come in and fit. I hadn't been here long, but it sounds like, a lot of the guys and just the meetings we've had just about every day, Shane's talking to us about recruiting, but about how guys are going to fit into the puzzle. So I think both of them are just kind of proactive guys. They're always trying to figure out how can I make this football program better, improving the roster, or if it's something like nutritionist, or if it's anything that's going to touch a football player or make them better. They're both, I think, forward thinkers and really great leaders,
And this may be an opinion from you, but with the transfer portal, with NIL, with everything changing so much, obviously we've seen college coaches go back to college. College coaches go to the NFL, NFL coaches come back to college. Can you see that being more of a trend now, with there being more similarities now to college? I know it's not the exact same to pros, but just wondering your opinion on that as you come back to college.
Yeah, I think it's one thing. I know a lot of head coaches are a lot smarter than me have kind of made comments about, it'd kind of be nice to get it kind of some, I guess, parameters and stuff with it, which hopefully, I know it's probably a lot smarter people thinking about ways to figure out some things with that, because you hate to see guys transfer anytime they leave a school, but I know there's always situations why they left and it might be a better fit for them somewhere else. But I do see where some coaches, they kind of like probably, they're tired of recruiting, doing some things, and, hopefully if they've got an opportunity to go to the NFL. And the NFL, like I try to tell people all the time, it's definitely a business. You'll be coaching a player one day and they're released. And I'll be honest with you, that really always crushed me. It was like, I know a lot of them make a lot of money, so it's like, well, at least they got money to go back to. But it always just broke my heart. I've been like, no, for college, at least you had them for 3 or 4 years and everything. But it's I definitely missed the college game. The relationships, I guess, you kind of built with the player from whether you're recruiting them and getting them in the program for years to come. And fortunately, I went long enough to stay anywhere in the NFL where we got some long-term relationships. But, you could definitely be special if you got to, stay a while at a place.
Do you got any good Taylor Edwards stories?
Taylor? Oh, yeah. Taylor, it's a funny story. Taylor first came to Jacksonville State. I had a buddy, Justin Thompson, who was my high school quarterback at Pickens Academy. I'll tell you how old I am. I used to have hair back then. I actually, believe it or not, I played running back. I probably don't like it now, especially after all the food I've been eating here. But so Taylor, my buddy calls me. He's like, hey, I got this guy. He's a pitcher. He played junior college baseball, and he's wanting to get into personnel recruiting. He'd been at Troy or whatever. So Taylor literally shows up at this camp. Oh, man, I'm choking up. I need some water, but I'm good. But so Taylor shows up at this camp, and he's running around, and we got all these kids. It's in Montgomery. Jacksonville State, another Gamecock, great university where I played. But so Taylor's running around. It's just a madhouse. And we get done with the camp, and I was like, oh, man, how'd it go, Taylor? He's like, oh, man, this is great. I said, well, if he survived today, this is an absolute madhouse. He'll enjoy it. And he came back and started working with us at Jacksonville State volunteering, and we couldn't run him off. He was always looking for whatever job you could do. I said, he's either crazy or he really wants to be in football, one or the other, so, but he's been a great asset. So, but he's just great with people and a great talent evaluator and everything. So, I know Shane's taught him a lot the year he's been here. And, he's got a really great staff that works really hard.
And I know.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, I'll let you take your sip of water. I know you've obviously seen recruiting from a couple of different angles, from director, GM style approach to actually recruiting. What makes, especially in the SEC and at the college level, what makes a really good recruiter?
Well, I think the first thing is, and even, guys in the NFL, I think a lot of times you just the critical factors, at each position, I think that you're looking for in your style of offense. And I always believe that you kind of tell me, I'm always a big believer of tell me what they can do elite, not what they can't do. And I also believe when you start looking at players, and you say, they're high school. Well, if I'm a good high school coach and it's my best player on the team, I remember at Alabama when we were looking at Josh Jacobs, he was playing Wildcat quarterback, which the high school coach, that's very smart. You're making sure he's getting the ball every time. You may not have a quarterback that can throw to him, and just different things like that. I think looking at what they can do elite, and if you think they can, what they do best, and it can translate into the college game, especially the level they're having to play. And, you always love size, speed guys, if possible, that have NFL measurables, because more times than not, they're going to be the guys that are going to be productive players. You're always going to have your Hunter Renfrows that they're not have but they're unbelievable players. He still get open every day in the NFL, But I think that kind of starts with it. And also I think making sure that they have like a competitive spirit, because it's going to get harder. If you're a great SEC signee, you should dominate your high school, and if you dominate the SEC play, you probably should be a high draft pick, and things like that. And, because it's a lot, it's demanding to play college football and all the work and stuff that goes into it, and that you're going to have competition. And, I tell guys at the NFL, the day you sign your contract, that team's trying to find younger, cheaper labor to replace you. And I said the same way when hopefully the players we're signing here at South Carolina, I told my tight ends the other day, hey, I promise you I'm going to go try to sign the best tight end in the country we can find. So, you got to keep getting better too. And I think it makes everybody better, competition. And I think that was one thing Coach Saban did really well, unbelievable job at Alabama. Like the moment he signed somebody, he wanted somebody just as good the next class too. So.
Hey, Jody, Corey Diaz with the USA Today Network. And as a guy who grew up in Montgomery, Alabama, I think you and I may have started gaining some weight long before we got here, right?
That's right.
I'm curious, as a new coach coming in and joining a staff that's you're that last guy filling that last spot, what's the secret? What is the approach to coming in and sort of forming that chemistry with the other staff members ASAP?
Yeah, I knew a lot of these guys on staff, and the ones I didn't know personally, I'd always heard a lot of good things about them. And I know Shane, the type of guy he is, what he's going to try to have on his staff. And, I knew Coach Satterfield. I always had a lot of respect for him, meeting with him a couple times before about his offensive mind and knowing when he'd been with the Panthers. And Coach Atkins, I always knew a lot of guys. We had guys at the Giants that worked with Coach Atkins. So much respect for the offensive lines he's done. I think he's one of the best offensive line coaches in the country. And, he's coached in the NFL before and done a great job. And Montario, known a lot of people with him. And Justin Stepp had a lot of mutual friends. And, I think he does an excellent job with the receivers and throughout this state and everything. So it's been really, really good to get to know all those guys and all the graduate assistants and everybody. And just, like I said, it's really a great group that working well together. And they've all been great to me, catching me up to speed and trying to rewire my brain with some terminology and stuff. But it's been great and really excited about, the schemes we're doing and some of the stuff, we're studying and just the whole operation. Really excited.
Hey, Jody. Cam Gaskins with ABC Columbia. I'm not sure how much you've read up on the Gamecock fan base, but there's a pretty vocal contingent that has some strong feelings about the tight end being utilized in the passing game. I was just curious, in your talks with Marcus, how do you vision or what is your vision, I guess, for this position group, and how would you like to see them using this offense this year?
Yeah, well, I told Marcus we want to get them wide open and catch touchdowns and make their coach look good. So we're working on those plays. But no, we've got some really, really talented guys. Jaheim Bell, really talented guy, and Trey Kenyon, so there's really talented guys, and, Austin, and a lot of guys, they'll be coming here later. But I definitely think Marcus has got a good plan to use all, whether it's receivers, tight ends, running backs, we're really excited about, some different players with quarterback and a lot of different positions we think could even grow on from last year, watching tape from last year. And like I told him the other day, the key to being a good coach is get good players and manage them. So I told him, just make me look smart. So we'll be in good shape. But
Hey, Hale McGranahan with the Big Spur. With your post at Alabama as the DPP, can you kind of explain to folks what that entailed, what your duties were with that, and how similar was that setup to what y'all got going with Taylor and his crew right now?
Coach Saban in that role, he always kind of, I was coaching at UAB and the program had got shut down, and Kirby Smart had called me, and he was the defense coordinator then, and Coach Saban, and I didn't have a job. I was actually looking for a job and was coming back from an interview of a job, and he kind of offered me the job. But in that role, it was basically you did everything, the roster management, kind of evaluate players to who he was going to watch, because anytime I think head coaches, you got so many, and it's up to the assistant coaches and people to kind of streamline it where they're basically getting to the main guys that they need to be watching that have a potential to play there. Basically you were in charge of most. I guess I could say I probably got chewed out for anything that went wrong in recruiting. That was probably a good way to say it. But at Alabama, we had so many great staff there that helped, and a lot of them have gone on to whether it's NFL jobs or different programs. And Coach Saban, he's the director of player personnel and everything, and he's it's amazing. I used to tell people how hard he worked at it, and whether how many kids he watched on the road recruiting and everything. And I see Shane the same way. I mean, he's nonstop working on it, communicating with kids, their coaches, to watching players, evaluating, and talking about how many position needs at each. And then I was fortunate enough to be the NFL liaison, getting to meet with a lot of the NFL scouts and general managers coming through. So got to make a lot of relationships there. Whether you need to pick up the phone and call general manager Les Snead or somebody from the Rams and get their opinion about a player, if they were weighing whether they should come out for the draft or not, or different things. So it was a lot of, I got to be around a lot of smart people and hopefully soaked up some knowledge. So it was really great. A lot of them were always willing to share and teach you things, which I was very fortunate to be around a lot of great people coming through there.
Jody, at least on the NFL side, I know you worked with the guys through the draft and evaluating guys and stuff. I'm just curious, how does that, I guess, sort of relate to recruiting? How sort of transferable is that sort of back to college? How similar is that to recruiting on the front end? And I guess just how do those maybe sort of correlate, if at all?
Yeah, in the NFL, it's kind of the same way, we do here in Alabama, different place. You give everybody a grade. So, whether it's a 98 or whatever, how your grading system is by color for gold player, whatever it is. And same way in the draft, the NFL, you've kind of got them ranked, whether it's a first-round grade, a second round. So, probably the only difference is in college, you kind of say, hey, this guy's a offer top priority if we can get him, but hey, he may be, 5 states away. So we're probably going to have a little bit better chance to getting a guy a little bit closer to home. So you got to kind of to weigh, and you're still going after the best player and kind of how it works itself out. And then a guy commits and you take them off the board or whatever and move on to the next player. Same way with the draft, you may have a guy right up there. So number one guy we're about taking, and somebody drafts him in front of you, so you have to go to the next guy. But it's very similar with the deal, and I think it all starts with kind of a baseline grading system, and I kind of see it as almost like it's almost like a grade in a school. You're a 98 student, 93, which I was probably more of a D student, but, getting down there like a Madden grade and that's really kind of how you start, how you're ranking your board in recruiting about, hey, we want to take 2 or 3 guys at this position, and, these are the top tier guys kind of down, same way with the draft process. And, and that's one thing I think I respect so much about what Shane's doing, Coach Beamer's doing here, and the same way Coach Saban was about making sure guys were the right fit, and you want to find out the background and what their high school coach says about them, and people in the school, the principal, the counselors, people in the community, their parent, and making sure they're the right type of player you want to bring in to your, same way in the NFL as your organization. We're giving them a scholarship and hope we don't mess that up. Where the NFL, you're giving them, if you're drafting them high, millions, it's a couple of dollars. So you hope you don't make that mistake, because if you make too many of those mistakes, you probably won't be there long. So.
Jody, do you know which areas you're going to be recruiting?
Yes. Right now, I'm gonna have hadn't really all total finalized it yet, but local area here, a lot what Coach Kimmery had, and then kind of a northeast Georgia and Alabama and Mississippi, Louisiana. You know, both my brothers are high school coaches, one at Tuscaloosa Academy and one at Bessemer Academy in Alabama. And my father, you know, was a superintendent of education over in Columbus, Mississippi, so I know a lot of people from that area. And you know, a lot of guys already kind of had their areas, so I'm excited about getting back on the road and stuff in the spring and seeing a lot of coaches, and had a lot reach out to me, and you know, hopefully I get a lot of coaches up to our clinic and come watch the spring football.
And how's that reception been from the guys you've been able to talk to in recruiting so far?
Oh, it's been great. You know, like I said, what Coach Beamer's done here, the excitement and you know, everybody sees it. Just like, I mean, we were sitting there last year, you know, everybody in NFL, everybody's watching Saturday games, players and everything. And, you know, just guys on our staff that knew Coach Beamer were so excited and kind of expected the success, you know, he was going to have. But it was really great to kind of get back and get relationships. You already had a bunch of high school coaches text me about players, whether it's on their team or guys in their area, you know, so I've been trying to grind away and getting a lot of those guys watched and evaluated, and looking forward to seeing a lot of them in person. Hopefully they'll be able to visit us this spring and everything. Guys, can't thank y'all enough. Oh, yeah, let me move this. Yeah.
Okay, that will do it for Jody Wright, new Gamecocks tight ends coach. What a funny guy he is. What a giddy, jolly fellow he is indeed. So that basically took up the entire second hour. We got a couple of minutes to go, guys. Quick reminder, check out the podcast that dropped this morning, episode 603, full breakdown of a busy weekend in Columbia, baseball, basketball, both men's and women's. Also, great throwback conversation with former South Carolina catcher Robert Berry. Luke asked, can he call in twice? Well, Luke, we got 3 minutes to go. So if you want to make it really, really quick, then so be it. I'm not going to go past 2 o'clock today. We got a lot to do, a lot of content to create, a lot of that good stuff. But, again, check out the podcast. And, guys, of course, we are live at Tin Roof this week on Wednesday, by the way, 5 until just before 6:30, because yours truly is going to hike it over to CLA to check out South Carolina, Mississippi State, but we'll still go live at Tin Roof. Outside of that, guys, again, stay tuned for all of our latest content bleeding out the eyeballs. Let's jump to the phone lines.
From Luke RJ.
What's going on, Luke?
Man, was that not like one of the best press conferences you've ever heard of for the football team?
I mean, it was a fine presser, man. I got to be honest. I don't put a ton of stock in press conferences, and I've never heard of somebody getting a new job and being pissy in the press conference. So, I mean, glad he's a Gamecock, and we'll see what the on-field results look like. But again, I've never heard of a tight end coach's name in the lead storyline for winning or losing a ball game. So, as long as he does his job and he can recruit us some good players, I'm all game for it.
Yeah, I hear you. I just loved how so much praise he gave Shane Beamer. I mean, about the type of person he is, and just everything he said about, just praising Beamer. About, I just think it's going to be awesome, man. And I really think this guy is going to help us with getting players. And I mean, this is an upgrade from whoever else we had. And I know it was Kimmery, and he's great and everything, a long time Gamecock and all that stuff. And anytime there's a new hire, I mean, Shane Beamer's going to get somebody great, man. That's all I got.
Yeah, for sure, man. I don't think he would have hired him if he didn't feel like that, he wasn't going to be an asset to Carolina football. So, I'm excited to see what he does. I mean, like I said, I'm glad he's here, and, excited to see what he does with the tight end position.
All right. Well, I'm gonna listen to the podcast after the show, and appreciate you taking my call twice today.
Yeah, man, dude. Luke, always a pleasure to hear from you, my guy. Thank you so much for calling in. Not to be Debbie Downer, guys. I would just say this: like, I don't. I mean, glad he's a Gamecock. Glad he's happy to be here. I wouldn't expect him to say much different. I mean, how crazy would it be if they were like, yeah, man, tell me how recruiting's going to this point. And what if he was like, well, it ain't going all that good. I'm having a tough time adjusting. The staff don't really get along. Like, can you imagine if he said, like, they'll never say that. They'll never say that. But either way, yeah, Jody Wright, Shane Beamer, speaking to the media. Glad Jody Wright's here and excited to see what he can do with that Gamecocks tight end position. Of course, he's got a lot to work with Stogner, Jaheim Bell, E.J. Jenkins, Trey Kenyon, and others as well. Guys, that's going to do it all for us. Appreciate you all tuning in. Like I said, check out the podcast that dropped this morning. Again, thank you all so much. Those who came out, by the way, showed love at the Rowdy Rooster tailgate, showed love at the baseball games all weekend, man. Really, really do appreciate y'all, man. I cannot say enough. It was a blast this weekend, and looking forward to getting back out there Tuesday, and then, of course, this weekend, and we'll just keep it moving through baseball. But, again, guys, appreciate you all tuning in. Have a fantastic rest of your Monday, and we'll talk to you tomorrow.